small till it ain't, till it ain't, till it ain't, till it ain't. I'm building up a wall till it breaks. She hated when I call and it's late. I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting. She think I know it all, but I don't.
Welcome to the Mixtape with Scott, Season 5. This is Scott Cunningham. And this season, as I said in the last episode, this season is a bit of an experiment. Me and Catilin Myers at Middlebury College up in Vermont are going to do a series on us working together on research, together on the podcast, doing a project together. But what we're doing is we're using Claude Code to do research together on a project that we're doing in real time. And it might not work. The thing I've been telling Catilin, I was like, every great television show, the first season isn't very good. Like, for instance, first season of Seinfeld is not as good as the others. And what's another one? Maybe I always skip the first season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There are exceptions. Ted Lasso's first season was excellent. So this is not a rule, but it's not uncommon. And so me and Catilin what we're trying to figure out is whether or not we can together learn about using this AI agent to do research together on a project we kind of find interesting, or we do find interesting, which is the effect of abortion facility closures on marriage, using a natural experiment in Texas called House Bill 2 that led to about half of the state's abortion facilities to close, and in turn caused the travel distance to the nearest facility, county to county, to kind of get reshuffled because some places became a little bit more remote and some stayed the same. So we've written a paper on it. It's become a design that has been used decently amount. I just kind of call it the distance design anyway. So I proposed it to Catilin. I was like, what we should do? We have good chemistry. We banter well together. We're kind of the odd couple. That's hence the name of the podcast season. You're fairly pessimistic about artificial intelligence. I probably could stand to be a little bit more pessimistic, but I'm basically wide-eyed optimist. And why don't we try to use Claude Code and learn to do it together and do it in front of people? But the problem is, can you do that and just people listening can kind of hear you reasoning it out? We don't know. But the good news is I can't help but during these dead times to just kind of start talking to Catilin, and I just love hearing. I think it's a lot of fun. So I don't know how long I'm gonna do these openings, but I'm doing them right now to kind of prepare people for it. And in the second episode, we're kind of we're using Claude Code to kind of set up the directory, and you'll kind of hear us talking out loud, like what we're doing. I'll sort of ask Catilin to kind of explain what we're doing. And that's our effort to just try to figure out how can we on a podcast articulate out loud what it's like using Claude Code to do research and yet still make it something that a listener is following. So we'll see. Maybe this is a horrible idea. If it's a horrible idea, maybe you could shoot us an email. You can write me at causalinf@mixtape.consulting, and or you can go to my Substack and say whatever in the comments or the YouTube. All right. And we'll just sort of see how this goes. And we're trying to figure it out. But I do think that this is fun. So hopefully you'll like this and you'll get a chance to see and hear a little bit more about how Caitlin approaches research. And you can like learn from her like I am. She's a wonderful person. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you in a minute. Let us introduce ourselves to one another. Who are you and what is this thing and why are we doing this together?
I'm Catilin Myers. I am an economist at Middlebury College. I am your co-author on a previous paper and on a soon-to-be paper, which
Yeah.
is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's right. Soon to be paper, writing paper with friends and Claude Code,
Yeah,
the
that's
odd
what we're
couple.
doing.
That's what we're doing. Okay, and I'm Scott Cunningham. All right, well, I got us an icebreaker,
Okay.
and here we go. We both have to answer it. So, if you could instantly become an expert in one skill that has nothing to do with economics, what would it be and why?
I would like to be able to sing.
Mm.
I am not good at singing at all. I have zero training and probably zero talent. And it's super embarrassing in church when all of these amazing people start belting it out. And I'm like, and I usually stand real close to my daughter, who's a good singer, and just hope people might think that I'm her. So like that would be, I'd like
That's
to be able to
your
sing.
lip syncing is just to just stand by your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm real good at it. How about you?
Okay. All right. I have always wanted to do a complete shot by shot remake of A Few Good Men. That's the only skill I want. That's it.
Are you going to be in it or
I
do
haven't
you want to?
decided. I haven't cast anybody in it yet, so I don't know. I might talk to my daughter, Ren. I was gonna let her play Tom Cruise. She wants to go to law school.
Mhm.
And my daughter Willow also wants to go to law school. So that means she probably is going to have to be the Demi Moore character. And I thought maybe my son could be the Jack Nicholson character. And then maybe I'm just Kevin Bacon, the
Um, this
prosecutor.
sounds this sounds like you rent a beach house for a summer vacation with the family, and you're like, okay, everybody, we're making a few
Oh,
good
but
men now.
it's got to be shot by shot. Like nothing can be even barely off. So it's going to take years.
That's a recipe for your children needing decades of
That, but
therapy following
if I was an
experience.
expert, if
Dad's
I
like,
was
it
an
must be shot by shot.
You're like, where are y'all going for vacation? Oh, I don't want to talk about it. We have to go do this thing again for dad. But if I was an expert in it, I could probably knock that thing out. See, that's the
That's
deal. That's
yes,
the deal.
yes.
Okay. All right. So today we are starting our project. And can you remind us what this project's about?
So we're interested in the effects of restricting abortion access on marriages. And we are, I think, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong or if we're changing our minds, but I think we're going to exploit the natural experiment that is Texas House Bill 2 in 2013. As an aside, I would like to ask why economists think the word exploit
Ah,
sounds fine. But in any event, we have this natural experiment in Texas where all of a sudden, almost overnight, half of their abortion clinics close, and it generates variation across the state in distance to the nearest clinic. And we're going to use that to study how it affected marriage patterns.
yeah. And we're going to use Claude Code to do it.
And we're going to use Claude Code to do it.
All right. So here we go. So today we start the project by getting everything set up. I had to format my hard drive due to a Mac issue. So some tools still need to be reinstalled. Some are done, but not all. I basically have everything, but what I don't have is I don't have Claude installed at the terminal. So I was
Okay.
going to think that, since we're trying to illustrate what it's like to set up a project, we kind of need to just do it from scratch. So I was thinking the things we've got to do is create our project folder and start filling it up. So
Yep.
I have here create our project folder. We're going to pull in some scaffolding. We're going to talk about this thing called a Claude Markdown. And then we're going to ask you to help fill the folder in or
You know what I
Awesome.
think we should do is see if Claude can go. We can talk about this in a second, but I think we should see if it can go to Open Science Framework and pull my
Yeah.
distance data from there because that's public data.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So let's see if we
Great.
can't do that. So, all right, so let's start our folder here. So we'll call it odd couple abortion. Oh, what's this doing? Okay. All
Now, are
right.
you storing this locally or are you storing it on the cloud?
I have it locally right now, but we can probably need to move to the cloud.
Like for me, it would be great if it were on Dropbox or I actually use
Oh,
Google Drive, but I can use Dropbox if
oh
you
yeah,
want.
yeah,
But that
yeah.
way I can access it too.
You talking about the podcast?
The project folder.
Oh yeah, I was going to do Dropbox. Are you not doing Dropbox?
We can do Dropbox.
What do you don't like Dropbox?
It's fine. I don't have a paid subscription through Middlebury, so I
Oh,
use
okay.
Google Drive, but I have a paid subscription because I have other co-authors who use it, so I
Oh,
can't get away from it.
but you do have a paid subscription.
I do. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. All right, we'll call it that. So here we go. So I gotta share this with you. All right. So then I'm gonna share it with you and okay. Could just copy the link, right? Because you're on here, but I'll do it like this. Caitlin, do it like that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's sending to you. So we need to okay. All right. So here we go. We're gonna create our project folder. We did that. Gonna put in some scaffolding. I wanted to kind of walk you through. I had two things. One was we could use my Mixtape tools repository, which is this thing that I've been kind of creating, which is a repository for people for how I work. And what it has are these things called skills, and also has something here. I believe it's here. New project. And so what it does is it just automatically populates the folder with like how I'm going to work. But
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
okay, so we'll do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clone this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it in. All right, and what we're doing is we are cloning my repository. Okay, no, git clone. We're pulling it in. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to Claude and we are in the podcast. Nope, we're going to be over here. This is going to be the one part of it is me talking out loud is probably not working well, but all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to documents, mixtape tools, and use what did I say it was called? New what? New,
Well, I don't remember.
yeah, because it's mine and I should know it. New project, MD, and populate this folder. All right. So what it's doing is we are starting a new project, and what I've done is I've just used this mixtape tools to create a standardized hierarchical list of directories. You know, Caitlin, that our generation, because we grew up going to the library and we had the cabinets with all of the little pieces of paper where all the books were, that
Hmm.
our brains think in terms of hierarchical
Yes.
folders and that the new generation doesn't do that. You
Yeah,
knew that?
kids these days, they think in terms of a laundry basket.
Yeah.
And you're just like searching your Mac. I don't use a Mac, by the way, but you're just searching your Mac. It's somewhere. It's really interesting. Like one of the first things I do when I'm teaching classes that involve managing data is and managing a project is talk about how important it is to set up your hierarchy and think about how you're going to organize things. And it sometimes feels like a foreign concept. Like even the cute little file folder, icons. They're so out of date when you think about them.
I know. I
But
know.
kids these days, they don't have physical file folders.
I know.
I don't either, honestly.
Well, with the students, with the undergrads, the you if you don't actually devote a fairly decent amount of time on the front end, everything just goes into the downloads folder,
Yeah, exactly.
and then they're just
And
like,
we're on a terrible, messy desktop.
uh-oh, I see some snow in
Uh-oh.
Boston. Okay,
We don't have it yet.
what do you think about this? How do you look what I'm doing? So is this similar to how you do it?
So this is okay. So what I'm looking at right now in our folder is we've got code, yeah, data, clean raw, yeah, decks, documents, notes, output. This is really interesting because I don't think we've really ever compared notes on this,
Yeah.
and this is pretty much exactly how I do it.
You do it
So
this way too?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna now what I've done is I've put in a Claude Markdown.
Hmm.
All right. And this Claude Markdown is, what do you understand the Claude Markdown to be?
Well, I don't know how you're using it, but I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be some sort of record of what you want, how you want Claude to go about its tasks that it can refer back to. But I don't know. You tell me.
Well, what this is going to be is, all right. So what this is going to be is Claude will read this constantly. I don't know how often. This is what we're told. None of us, I don't think any of us really knows, to be
Hmm.
honest. But what it does is allegedly Claude Code reads the Claude Markdown in the main directory constantly. And so what the Claude Markdown is doing is it's trying to give your Claude manifestation like a personality. So it's his set of values. It's like the 10 commandments of the project. These are the things that you're allowed to do, and these are the things you're not allowed to do.
Hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna make it so that this is let's just edit it. So
Can I ask you
uh
a question about it, Scott? Because
yeah,
I thought it was really interesting. And for folks who might be listening and not looking at it, like it says who you are, what, how it should approach the tasks, what the rules are for it. I have a question though, which is, I didn't get to see it long enough to see this was if this was a rule, but one of the rules that I usually give it is you're not allowed to go outside of this project folder for anything without asking for permission first, like telling me where you're going to go. But some people have suggested to me that you can't really trust AI to follow that type
right.
of rule.
Yeah.
And they've talked about putting hooks in, and I don't really know what a hook is. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Okay, this is great. I actually don't know. It's on my to-do. This podcast is where I'm going to learn about hooks.
Okay,
And
so we're going to learn
so
about
we're
hooks.
going to learn about hooks. We're going to learn about skills. We're going to learn about all the stuff that we that I don't know about. So you must know more about the hooks than me. And but I do know that I often do put this in there. This don't you're not allowed to go up out of the directory. This kind of
Hmm.
connects to that mental
Right.
map that we were talking about of
Yeah.
direct that maps or hierarchy means you can go up and down and stuff. But I don't know if that's true.
Right.
So, but we're going to put it in here, and I think we need to basically say, tell me what you think about this, that the Claude Markdown is the 10 commandments and the 10 virtues, or it's like some kind of, these are the things you do and these are the things you don't do. And this is what we're trying to do in in this thing. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds right to me. That sounds like what we want. But one of the questions I've always got is how much do we trust Claude to follow our Ten Commandments?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's right. So we need to I don't know how we resolve that. We're gonna have to figure out you can't it's cheap talk to just say Cliff Claude just says trust me. So we have to
Yes.
figure out if we do trust him. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I've done, I've been experimenting a lot with Claude, and my understanding is that when Claude is running analysis for me using Stata, the data like are not leaving my machine. And at the same time, I'm giving Claude so much power over my machine that I get a little anxious, and
Yeah.
I have password protected folders that have restricted use data in
Mm,
them so that I I just feel a little nervous, and so I'm like, I'm going to add this extra level sorry, of security.
that's a great idea. Yeah, I think we are all I did
Might
see
be overkill.
Well, no, I saw Paul Goldsmith Pinkham has a thing where he creates a little, almost like a virtual computer within the computer. and I think it's called Docker or something. And so that is another way to physically create a sandbox within the computer for your projects where you can't leave it. So maybe that's something for us to look at
Yeah.
is if we're going to do that. So you're never, I was also thinking this, is he ever allowed to delete data sets?
No, I tell it to deprecate.
Deprecate. What does that mean?
Well, my understanding, sometimes I use language that I hear other people use, and I think I know what it means,
Yeah.
is that it's basically archiving it, right? So it's like, this
Yeah.
is the old version. I'm going to move it up here into this folder where you can find it if you want. It's kind of a clumsy versioning control, I think, but it's like, I'll never delete it without your permission. We
Yeah.
could run into problems with it if we had obviously big data sets,
Right.
but we don't.
Yeah. 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 We
And
don't yet.
also, I don't think we'll have. Well, it's interesting. Like, let me ask you this, Scott. Suppose that we have it right. Oh, just started snowing here. We're getting our snowstorm
There we
now.
go. There we go.
Uh, all right. So suppose that we had it write a do file that is cleaning the data for us. And then we're like, oh, do this other thing, pull in this other variable, pull in an extra year. And it's running Stata. Stata is going to
Yeah.
overwrite the clean data. And we're probably going to be fine with that because we've
No, it's
still
the
got all the raw
clean
data.
versus raw. It's the clean versus raw, right?
Yeah.
It's the raw because I have
But is
here.
it going to think it's breaking its rule when
Yeah.
it
So we
is
need to
writing and
be.
running a do file that overwrites a clean data
I
set?
think what I usually do is I try to basically say, I hope, try to figure out what I'm talking about right now. So like, because we're going to say you can have old versions, you can't delete it, but we're struggling to articulate these exceptions to the rules, which is um, which is that, raw data will go into the data raw folder. But that's untouchable. That is untouchable. So for the most part, you cannot delete that, within some with, we can't delete that within reason. All right. And we're struggling to figure it out. But you can't, but all of the analysis will through a coding pipeline, create cleaned versions. Those are disposable, right?
I
So
wonder,
long as the originals are never touched.
I wonder if the following is a simpler version of it. Um, Never, ever, ever overwrite the raw data, which a data science friend of mine says is the cardinal rule of data science. Never overwrite the raw data. And never delete a program file, a slide deck, notes, or a paper. Always deprecate them.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. So I've been using the word legacy. So I guess I don't know all these words. So I like legacy archive stuff. And the thing is, when we're starting this project from scratch, I feel like we have all this freedom to kind of like invent the good society, like a really good charter for how we're going to do this. But it's when you take Claude Code to an old project and you revive this older project that it becomes really kind of it does feel like it's a bit more challenging because, there's all this tacit knowledge that you have that things not to do. But I did this thing once where I brought him into an old folder and I was like, do all this stuff. And I told him to move something. And moving in terminal MV will delete. And
Mm.
what happened was through something I don't really quite understand, it just went away. And so there was some steps he went into, and he acted like it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, that was the biggest deal you've ever done. So I had to go through the Dropbox version control, pull it back. And that's where I was like, you never delete a program, uh, you know, code, notes. You go in steps. You copy it, you deprecate it, legacy deprecate it.
Sure.
It cannot be deleted. So I am a little worried about moving using the Unix bash because if I'm not mistaken, that can delete, and I don't know how to tell you what to do. All right, what are we missing?
Ask Claude.
What else are we missing on this Claude.md that we need to have in here? That's a great idea. Remember, this is an applied micro study of the effect of abortion clinic closures in Texas counties on marriage certificates and divorce certificates, maybe.
I don't think it knew that, by the way. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
just
first
now
time.
realized I didn't know that. I have
Yeah.
to remember it. He
Yeah, we
thinks
didn't
like,
tell it that.
what are you gaslighting me? He's like, no, you don't remember this conversation we had? No.
Has
All
Claude
right.
accused you of gaslighting it?
No,
No,
no.
Claude's always like, Scott, you're the most brilliant, smart.
That's
The
ChatGPT.
pandering of
Claude,
the AI
no.
agents is
Claude isn't as nice as ChatGPT is.
yeah,
I've
thank
found.
goodness.
So he's going to get the current state. He's going to build this out together. So what else are we getting? So we're getting the other thing we're going to do. You said is we're going to see if we can't find the replication package.
Yep. I think it's on ICPSR.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what he said here. Why don't you read it?
Okay, Scott, before I write anything, let me think through what you're articulating and what's missing. You've got the instinct exactly right on all this, you super brilliant economist. It didn't say that. Just add in the pandering. Let me lay out what I think the full set of vices and virtues should be, and you tell me what to adjust. Your MV concern is well founded. Unix MV is a rename or relocate. It removes the original path. If I do that, the raw file is gone. The safe rule is simple. Never use MV on protected files. Use CP only. If something needs renaming or reorganizing, CP to the new location. CP copy? I don't.
Yeah, CP's a
Okay.
copy.
Verify it and leave the original untouched. Deprecation means adding deprecated suffixes, not moving things to oblivion.
Hmm.
That sounds right. I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
right.
hearing you.
Yeah, that's right. All
Yeah.
right. So I'll do this part. So here's what I think should go in the Claude beyond what you've said. Directory containment. Never CD or reference anything above. It was what we said. Raw data is sacred. Clean
Yeah, there
data
we
is
go.
disposable. Don't delete the code notes or programs. Use deprecate. Don't MV. What are we missing? Progress description, identification
Yeah.
strategy, placeholder, data. So this is the thing. I think, okay. Definitely pipeline. All right. So can we do these as we go? Because when do we use Claude MD and when do we use README? Right. That's
Hmm.
something I'd like to kind of know a little
Yeah,
better.
that's I my instinct is the pipeline philosophy, which is one of the things that Claude said we might want to give it, is like kind of how we want our code to be reproducible from the
Yeah.
raw data to the output.
Yeah.
But the other things it's asking, many of the other things it's asking us about, like the identification strategy,
Yeah.
are more project
They're
specific.
project specific, yeah. So it's read automatically at session start. So if Anthropic is right, this is what Claude does every time. These are the instructions for Claude. It tells Claude what it can't do, what it must do, and it does need to know enough of the project to not be an idiot. That's funny. It actually said that. So the vices and virtues, the guardrails. If Claude doesn't know the identification strategy, it might suggest wrong specific. Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Well, maybe we do need to put that in there. So this is the documentation for humans.
Hmm.
README's for us. Claude is for Claude.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, uh, well, okay. So maybe we do need to put the identification strategy in there.
Yep.
All right.
I wonder, Scott, if a way to do that is to just add our Journal of Human Resources
Yeah.
paper with Jason Lindo and Andrea Schlosser that uses a very similar identification strategy to
Yeah.
study effects on abortion outcomes.
Yeah.
And that would be like a good start, albeit, of course, we're using what is now out of date two-way fixed effects diff and diff.
Well, that's part to tell
That's
us
part of what we'll update,
part of
right?
what we're excited about, right?
Yeah.
Is you and me are going to try to get our hands dirty with a little continuous diff and diff, see if we like it. We might not like it.
Hmm.
We might be like, this isn't the right thing to do anymore. I mean, the new one, the new thing.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right.
I'm
Well,
excited to learn it with you.
Okay, so here's the problem with PDFs is, in my experience, my Claude Code at least will choke on reading PDFs. So we'll just use split PDF from Mixtape tools to split the PDF in readings and write the markdown of it. Um, we are going to use that identification strategy, but for marriage. And so you can just update Claude with enough of that you are intelligent throughout this. I never knew that we needed to put the identification strategy inside of Claude so that he or they would not be dumb. That never
I'm
crossed my
curious
mind.
to know how different Claude would be without it. I'm trying to think about the tasks that Claude does for us and whether this would really make a difference.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to give Claude the paper and believe him.
Okay. Well, so you have so tell me a little bit in your JPE, you had said that you had not found high quality marriage data for that project, but we think we have found high quality marriage data in Texas. Can you tell me a little bit if I misunderstood what you said and where you think?
Yeah, sure. So I have a paper in 2017 in the JPE that looks at the effect of abortion legalization and young women's access to abortion in this is the early 70s. This is, a completely different era. And I look at the effect on the probability that a woman got married while she was a teenager, in addition to giving birth while she was a teenager and having a so-called shotgun marriage. And I did find that the legalization of abortion dramatically reduced the chance that she got married as a teen. But what I was saying is that was based on individual retrospective data.
Right.
And when we're looking at the effects of contemporary policies, one of the things that would be really nice is to just know, for instance, how many people are getting married in this county every year? And I wasn't aware of any high quality data that would let us just kind of look at marriage patterns, number of marriages in a given period of time in a given place. But we think we might have found it, right? So that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's exciting
We
about
think we
this.
found it. We're going to see if Claude can find it because what
Yeah.
he's going to do is he's gonna bring it in to the folder. Okay. All right. So I got to let him finish up and put this in here, but let's go ahead and put our prompt in. So we want you to find the replication package for this JHR. We think it is at ICPSR. Is that what we should say?
I think that's where we put it.
That's all we say, right? We don't need to say more
Yeah.
than that.
See if it can find it.
You need to find it using your web crawl, grab it, bring it locally, and place it somewhere sensible on our local directory. And and then to your question, if you already understand the paper, just put that into Claude Markdown with the identification strategy for now. All right, so because he was going to read all 8 of these splits and so what that was, Caitlin, let me just tell you what I was doing. So
Mhm.
lots of times when I have these PDFs and I want Claude Code to read the PDF, I have found that even though Claude as a large language model is able to consume, I don't know how many tokens, but the number of words that it's able to eat is massive. But for some reason, it hits a wall with large PDFs. And I've
Hmm.
asked it why, what's going on, and it's something to do with how it all the additional things it's doing than just reading text when it's interacting with a PDF. And so I'll oftentimes do it, and what'll happen is it'll just say prompt too long. And when it
Yeah.
says prompt too long, it died. So I have to restart. And so what I created on that mixtape tools, it's a little small thing, but all it does is splits a big PDF into little bitty PDFs and then reads those. So it goes one at a time through those, and it never seems to kill it.
So it's interesting, Scott. We should probably try this again at some point because I had exactly this problem with Claude Code like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And earlier this week, I gave it a 400-page PDF and it was fine.
Wow.
And it surprised me. I mean, it's never worked before, so I don't know why. And it was a complicated PDF. It had a lot of figures. There was nothing easy about it.
Well, it's crazy because I had it killed. Mine died the other day.
Really.
I wonder. Well, I probably, maybe. Did you do it within co-work or did you do it within code?
I was within code, yeah.
Well, we do need to figure that out.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. I feel like I have all these little things I've been making that. Here we go.
Ah. Scott, this is your own paper. Don't you have
Ah,
this?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it can't get it from ICPSR. They're blocking it.
Oh, what do you think? But have you? I mean, we have it local.
Of
I
course, we have
have
the
it.
replication package. I've got it on my computer, but I was curious to see if it could download it. So I wonder, like, as we're getting set up, so we can go to ICPSR and download it, although that
Yeah.
might not make for very good listening. I wonder, there are two other pieces of the beginning of the setup that we could think about.
Yeah.
One is asking it to look for marriage data.
Yep.
And two is asking it to try looking for my Myers abortion facility database at Open Science Framework and
Okay.
seeing if it can download the distances, because that's what we'll want to use for this.
Got it. And why aren't we just using the distances that are already in the JHR?
Yeah, so, and you'll have to stop me because you know how obsessive I am about
Yeah.
distances. So when we wrote our JHR paper, what year was our paper published?
Was it 2019,
2019?
2018 or
We
something?
started it, well, we started it separately and then combined forces, but Jason and I started together in like 20, gosh, 14 or 2015. And from the very beginning, we understood that the key to the identification strategy would be to understand where every brick and mortar abortion facility had been in Texas and which ones had closed because of this law and where they were, like, and when they closed, right? So I thought, oh, I'll just go to this licensing database because Texas required them to all be licensed and I'll just get it there. But it turned out that while all of the clinics had licenses, a bunch of them, when they closed, didn't relinquish their license immediately because they were hoping to be able to reopen.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went through clinic by clinic, looked at the news, looked at their websites. I called some of them to figure out exactly when they closed and they reopened.
Hey, real quick, look, he
Oh,
found it. He
you got
found
it on
it
your
in
machine?
my
Wait, did
machine.
you
I
did you let
actually,
it loose? I didn't
yes, I let it
see.
loose. I was
You let
about to
it
tell.
loose on your
I did.
machine?
I let it loose.
You're
He
a
kept asking permission, and I habitually gave it permission. I mean, this is part of the problem with Claude Code is I just am a habitually nice. He's so nice to me, so he's like, if he wants to rummage around my computer, I let him. So yeah, he broke the rules because he asked permission, and I gave him permission, and he found it. All right, so he's copying. Hopefully, left a junk file. All right, yeah, exactly. Keep going.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. So long story short, what's in this replication package is from that earlier search that I did of all these clinics, and we calculated for every county in Texas how far it was to the nearest abortion clinic. Since then, I've continued to update the database. I expanded it to the entire country. I've updated it quarterly. And there's a few things that I changed since we first wrote that paper. There's like a clinic in Waco that I decided reopened 3 minutes earlier, 3 minutes, 3 months earlier than we thought.
If you had
So we
said
should
three
just
minutes,
3 minutes.
if you had said 3 minutes, I would have been like, you're the only person I know that would have updated that. So
I would have
that's
updated
how
that
you're
too.
like the Jon Snow of modern economics. You're just like, I'm going to get every one of I'm going to take I'm going to get every one of these right. That's exactly what so
I
okay.
can't
So
imagine a bigger compliment than being called the Jon Snow of
you're the
modern
Jon
economics.
Snow of
I
economics.
assume we mean the
Absolutely.
cholera Jon Snow
The
and not
cholera one.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
not the Game of
Not
Thrones, although that'd be
the
pretty
the
cool too.
bastard son of okay, wait. So what are we gonna so let's get real quick. So because we're gonna try to wrap up on time. So let's try to
Yes.
finish our filling out of the folder. So what is the distance? So we are going to get new distance data that Caitlin has collected
Scott, you spelled
since
my
the
name
J.
wrong.
Oh, I did. What is
I
it?
love you, but my gosh, a Y?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I've told myself that it's not the way I think it is. And
I just
now
want you to remember that if my mom saw you do that, she'd get real upset and start telling you all
you
about
won't
how
let
the
me be
right
on the
spelling
trip.
of Caitlin doesn't have a Y. We'd have to listen to it for
Okay. All right.
a
Well,
while,
I won't do it. No, no whys. And now I know. All right.
according to my mom.
So you've collected new distance data since the JHR.
Yes.
It is located where?
At Open Science Framework.
Open Science Framework.
And it's called the Myers Abortion Facility Database. I wish I hadn't called it my own name. It makes me feel very
The
self-aggrandizing.
Myers Abortion Clinic
Facility
Facility
Database.
Database. So why you call it a
Yep.
facility and not a clinic?
Yeah, because the Guttmacher Institute defines an abortion clinic as a specialized facility that mostly provides just abortions. And there are a bunch of places that provide other reproductive healthcare services and aren't specialized in abortion. So
Oh,
facilities is the broader umbrella term.
what did House Bill 2 shut down? Did it shut down facilities or
It
just
shut down facilities and
that
clinics.
all of them were regulated?
Yeah, I mean, this,
Oh,
just to be clear, the facility clinic distinction is one that's really only made in the academic literature. Like, it's not like anybody else is talking like that, but,
okay.
my database is mostly for academics, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it mostly shut down clinics because when you had a state like Texas that regulated abortion clinics really, really, really heavily, like abortion, even before House Bill 2 was regulated in Texas, like kind of completely out, the number of regulations were completely out of proportion to like any other similarly risky healthcare services.
yeah.
So when you increase the fixed cost of providing abortion through like all of these onerous regulations, what you end
Yeah.
up is few large, highly specialized facilities in cities.
Yeah.
So they were mostly clinics.
I see.
Yeah.
Let me ask something while this is downloading. I've always told this narrative and sometimes I'm not positive if it's apocryphal a little bit, but like I've always told this narrative that there was an evolution of abortion regulation after Roe, and it was easy to just say it as demand and supply. That there were like the parental notification, the mandatory delay.
Mhm.
It's not entirely that, but even the Hyde Amendment seems like it's more demand, maybe more demand side. It's not really targeting the firm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
what I want to know. Why did it take as long as it took for the lobby, the anti-abortion lobby, to realize that they could be so effective with the supply side
Mhm.
restrictions? Why
I
didn't that happen sooner?
Yeah, I think that is a fantastic question. I don't fully know the answer, but here's what I'll tell you. First of all, I think we've got to credit Ted Joyce, who I
Yeah.
believe is the person responsible
Yeah, that
for
New
this
England Journal of
demand
Medicine.
versus supply side restriction. That's Ted, and
Totally.
I think it's a great dichotomy. I use it all the time. So,
Same.
Basically what happened is the second
I mean,
Roe went,
that's how I found this project.
oh,
I gave the Ted Joyce New England Journal of Medicine to Andrea because she was going to
uh-huh.
go to med school, and so I was like, "This is what we got to think about." Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So basically, when Roe was decided, anti-abortion activists immediately started wanting to figure out, like, what are the limits of it? Can we dismantle it? Can we kind of reduce its impact? And for a while, it was really unclear exactly what its limits might be. And so there were these important cases that came after Roe. There's Danforth, there's Bellotti, eventually there's Casey. But long story short, there's a couple decades where they're really kind of figuring out what the regulatory powers are. And so they weren't enforced. A lot of the regulations that states had enacted weren't being enforced while they were making their way through the court. It's not until Casey in the early 90s that the demand side regulations really start to get enforced in a big way. And so for about 10 years, there's a real focus on mandatory waiting periods and parental involvement laws. These are both demand side regulations per
Yeah.
Ted's kind of dichotomy or his taxonomy that are focused on the people getting abortions. And then by like, I don't know, 2005-ish, about 35 states are enforcing both, and the states that aren't don't want to.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like the abortion opponents had exhausted this as a
Right.
regulatory measure. They were effective at reducing
The
abortions.
demand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so I'm telling this in kind of a simplistic way. They were talking about the suppliers. They were talking about supply side regulations. But I would say it's as the demand side regulations kind of get exhausted that they really start focusing on targeting the abortion providers.
Am I right though that Roe really did place a ceiling on demand side regulations that it might not have with the supply, or was it we just never got to see how the courts would have like ruled on that?
I mean, there were supply side regulations from the very beginning. So, for instance, a lot of states had physician only requirements for abortion and hospital only requirements, although I think those got dismantled relatively quickly. But physician only requirements said, obviously, that you had to have an MD or I guess a DO. You had to
Right.
have medical, you had to be a physician, a
Yeah.
licensed physician to provide abortion. And, abortions are not complicated. The technology's changed like a little bit since then, but
Yeah.
a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, these are people like these advanced practice clinicians who aren't physicians with not very much training can provide abortions, but a lot of states had regulations that prevented them from doing so. That's a supply side restriction, and it absolutely affected the provision of abortion services, particularly in like more rural areas.
Yeah.
So there were, I don't think we should be too simplistic. There were supply side restrictions from the very beginning. And
But
there was nothing about,
they were like labor occupational licensing type restrictions.
yes, yep,
Were they on the capital, like regulating the capital itself the way it is with the
yeah,
firm? Because that's what I
that's
was wondering, it's like you described more of like occupational licensing.
sure, but that's really, think about, yes. So let me answer your question and then let me tell you why I think what I described is still really important.
Uh,
To answer your question, I don't know of any regulations that were targeting like the physical plant of the facility, but I also don't know what I don't know about those early regulations. I've never tried to look for them. So I don't know. With respect to the occupational licensing, that might not sound like a big deal, but I think
yeah.
it's a really big
Oh
deal.
no, I know it's a big deal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just
Yeah.
thinking to myself, does occupational licensing have to increase the fixed costs of production? Like, I mean, anything that regulates the production function translates over to the cost function. So I get it. But what I thought was really different about the House Bill too is it's just like so blunt. It's like this
Yeah.
building has to be this big and the halls have to be this big and but it's not exactly occupational I know that that part didn't go through, but the occupational licensing it is a little bit in House Bill 2 because they have to have admitting privileges, which is
Right.
it's a worker regulation,
Right.
not the footprint of the building.
Yes.
Those
Correct.
seem
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know if those are a big deal, but like it's not obvious the admitting privileges shows up on an accounting ledger, the way that the accounting costs would be there for, I mean, I don't know if this really
Yeah.
matters.
Oh, I think that's kind of true. And I think in some ways, like the arguments that were made against the requirement that the facilities meet the standards of an ambulatory surgical center were in some way accounting arguments, right? This is extraordinarily expensive. You can look at the line items on, kind of estimates of creating meeting these various requirements, and it's a lot of money. And
Yeah,
you can't really assign here's how much money it costs to get admitting privileges because it was infinite. They couldn't get them, right? The
right.
hospitals were not giving them admitting privileges, and there's other states had other versions of these regulations, like I think it's Ohio had like you had to have a hospital transfer agreement. Right. So you had some sort of agreement with the hospital as though they weren't going to take somebody experiencing a medical crisis, right? They were. But in any event, I guess it's harder to assign dollar values to these because they were, I think, transparently designed to just make it impossible to meet the
Yeah.
requirement,
Right, right, right.
right? No amount of money was was going
The
to let you meet it.
economics of it is pretty interesting. I mean, it's like one of these tax things. You're like, oh, you tax the supply side, you tax, and it's going to be different. And then in reality, it's going to be the same. It's like,
Mhm.
these things, you start parsing it and you're like, oh, if we do it this way, it would be totally different. But who knows? Maybe tax wedges are not like really going to matter. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so we have, while we were talking, he was like, do you want me to go ahead and get the marriage and divorce indices? And I was like, sure, go ahead and do it. So he went and got it. I confirmed, he got the DSHS marriage divorce indexes exist. That's what we need. They contain the date of the event of the marriage or the divorce certificates being filed. So what's interesting, Caitlin, about this, by the way, is that I think these will give us flows
Yeah,
because it's
Scott, could
new
we
certificates. What?
wait. We just have to pause because this is insane.
Yeah. Okay.
We
Go
have
for it.
been, wait, just hold on. We've been yakking. You've been asking me questions. I've been nerding out on abortion policy.
Yeah.
And while we have been talking, on your screen that you're sharing with me, I've just been watching Claude work through it and say, okay, here's your replication package. Let me go find Caitlin's new data. Let me download that. Let me put that here. Let me go find marriages and like the data that we're clearly going to need for this project. Claude has just gone and gotten it and put it in these folders. And
Yeah.
like, how long would this have taken you without Claude?
No, I mean it's like an all day deal. I mean,
Right?
I don't know where he put it though. Where'd you put
Uh-oh. Well, okay, maybe he's messed up and I can stop being
Oh,
amazed.
raw. There it is. He put it in raw. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's like because he went through these look what he
Yeah.
got for the marriage data. These are
Wow.
zipped files. So this
Wow.
is a matter of just finding it and going to it and then pulling it in and and organizing it real well.
Yeah.
So he got the marriage indexes. Then he's got this right here. So what is this going to be? So look what we have. Look at what our marriage data is. It's individual names of people.
Oh my gosh, you and I are both in a year we didn't download. Did you get married in Texas? I got married in Texas.
No, I got married
Oh,
in Tennessee.
I got married in Texas in 2000.
Oh, we don't go back that far. We'll tell him to go back so you can go back
Go
with that.
find Caitlin's
Go
marriage
find Caitlin's
certificate.
marriage certificate. We'll ask him on this while we're doing it. We do a hook and a sub agent, and we go get like
I am not used to seeing names in anything. And can I tell you the fact that we have names, there's a lot you can do with names that's interesting. We
yeah,
have ages.
yeah.
Um, wow.
Yeah,
I
we've
know we
got
have,
ages, we've got names. We're going to be able to, I think, extract APP1. So let's see.
applicant one, applicant two, I would assume.
That's Bruce. This is Amanda. That's Cody. So somehow we have options about how we want to go about handling who's the bride and who's the groom. Not that it
Yep.
necessarily matters, but well, we might could do some kind of fuzzy matching, try to figure out the race
Right.
using,
That
those the black sounding names and stuff, because
that's what
that's
I
going to
was
be straightforward to do with Claude.
yeah.
So we
Yep,
can
that's what I was thinking.
okay.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do? So do we need to keep a little some notes here?
Yeah, so I think basically, I mean, I could keep going forever, but people can only listen to a podcast with us looking at data for,
Yeah. Wait, so yeah, I
so
didn't want to take you away from what were you thinking?
no. I'm gonna wait. I have a bunch of questions about the data, but
Okay.
I think that's for next time.
Yeah.
I want to understand, just because Claude went and found me some marriage data, I want to understand the legal reason that this exists because I
Yeah.
don't think it does for other states. So I want to understand why we have this for Texas, what it covers, what it might not cover. Like I got a lot of questions about these miraculous marriage data. And so I'm hoping Claude can help us learn more before we just dive in.
Yeah.
I don't want to take these data for granted.
Yeah, we want a clear documentation, an audit of the source, why and what exactly you picked up. It needs to be stored, so it needs to be recorded. It needs
Yeah.
to be recorded with URLs that we can go check out ourselves.
Hmm.
So this is part of the workflow, I think, for Caitlin and me is we're going to be trying to wrestle with you as to figure out where to insert the human verification, and so it never gets away from us.
Hmm.
Right? Because I think that's like part of our, so we're not sure what goes into Claude Code about that, except that there is on this side a fair amount of epistemological skepticism. All right. So we need when you are getting stuff, get the stuff and document exactly where it came from in a markdown, so that with dates and locations, i.e., Dropbox folders, URLs, etc., so that we have an inventory. Maybe it's called inventory, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and then update our progress logs. So that's the other thing I was going to do, Caitlin, is we're going to have progress logs in this project. Update
Hmm.
our progress logs in a markdown dated with everything we did since the last time we updated, which is never, because this is new. All right. So
Perfect.
that's going to do it. And then we will talk soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait
Okay.
to dive into these marriage data.
Me too. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Scott.
To the grave. She hated when I called and it's late. I hope I never keep you waiting.